Election night 1984, Judgment Day by you, the voter, on the candidates and issues of concern from the White House to your house. Good evening from CBS News election headquarters in New York. This is the CBS Evening News. Dan Rather reporting. Now the counting begins. The polls are still open in much of the nation. If you haven't voted yet, you still have a chance to do so and be counted. Your vote does matter. Vote. Based on CBS News, New York Times interviews today with people around the nation who have already voted, indications of the past several weeks of a substantial win for Ronald Reagan may be borne out if voting trends don't change by the time all the polls have closed. In two states, Indiana and Kentucky, the polls have closed. And on the basis of CBS News interviews with voters in Indiana with 12 electoral votes, President Reagan has won that traditional Republican state. In Kentucky, a border state that sometimes swings each way, the bluegrass state with 9 electoral votes, our CBS News exit poll indicates President Reagan has won in Kentucky too. Two states, 21 electoral votes. Remember, it takes 270 electoral votes to make a president. Our veteran political correspondent Bruce Morton is here tonight to explain some of the how and the why of the making of the president in 1984. Bruce?
Dan, President Reagan is running well at this hour, and he's doing well among some traditionally Democratic groups. How do we know that? CBS News and the New York Times have been polling voters today in selected precincts all across the country, handing them our ballot after they'd finished casting their ballot. Our ballot asks, who did you vote for and why? And asks some things about the voter who's being polled. Things like, how old are you? What do you do for a living? Here's what we've learned. President Reagan at this hour is running well with younger voters, 18 to 24-year-olds. Walter Mondale is getting overwhelming support from black voters, but Ronald Reagan does well with some other traditionally Democratic groups. He does well, for instance, with trade union members of union households. Not getting a majority, but getting around 45%, a point or two better than he did with that group 4 years ago. Mr. Reagan runs well among Catholics, sometimes a majority, always a solid share of that vote. And he is way out in front with another traditionally Democratic group, Southern whites. There is a slight gender gap. The president has a comfortable lead among men. The vote is closer among women. Issues, Mr. Reagan gets high marks on the economy, and that's the issue most people we've polled care about most. He also does well among those who want a strong defense. Mr. Mondale is doing well among those worried about arms control. As for character, Mr. Reagan gets high marks for strong leadership and competence. And our polling so far suggests that 2 of Mr. Mondale's big gambles during this campaign just didn't pay off. Voters are saying they don't want their taxes raised as a way of easing the federal deficit, and Mr. Mondale's selection of Geraldine Ferraro to be his running mate doesn't seem to have helped the ticket, even in the Northeast, where Democrats had hoped it might. Dan?
Thank you, Bruce. President, candidate, and citizen Ronald Reagan was among today's voters in California. Bill Plant is there.
Mission bells pealed in the tiny town of Solvang near the Reagan Ranch as the president, waving his absentee ballot, arrived with Mrs. Reagan to vote. Aides said Mr. Reagan and the First Lady had marked their ballots yesterday, but delivered them here today so they could be seen voting. Inside the polling place, the president joked when asked for whom he had voted. Asked again outside, Mr. Reagan pointed to his wife. Advisors said the president was in good spirits, but glad the campaign is over.
Oh, I think he's relieved and relaxed and looking forward to this evening.
Returning to Los Angeles, the First Lady appeared unsteady as she left the helicopter. Her staff said that she is tired and still dizzy after falling and hitting her head on a chair the night before last. But they insist that nothing else is wrong, and they say that Mrs. Reagan is not taking any medication. In Houston, Vice President Bush and his wife waited 15 minutes to vote, chatting with the other people on line around them. Bush, too, was in an upbeat mood.
Feel good. Beautiful day. Great to be home. I did the right thing. Did the right thing.
If Bush was nervous, it didn't show later as he played in a softball game between reporters and his staff. Despite the polite unwillingness on the part of the president and his staff to speculate on the outcome of the election, there's certainly no air of suspense around here. Privately, top White House aides believe that they'll be able to claim a mandate for the president based on the size of the popular vote. And they are already planning a unity drive between now and the inauguration to reach out to those people who didn't vote for Ronald Reagan. Dan?
Thank you, Bill, and we'll be coming out to you in California early and often during our election coverage. By first early light of a cold, crisp Minnesota day, Walter Mondale turned out to cast his ballot, waiting, wishing, hoping somehow for a come-from-behind November surprise. Susan Spencer is there.
The 5 voting members of the Mondale family braved a Minnesota morning chill and appeared to vote in North Oaks before the polls even opened, only to stand in line. The polls are open. The candidate took just over 2 minutes to fill out his paper ballot. Later he was asked how all the Mondales had voted.
I think I got at least 3 out of 5.
Today the family also paid a short visit to Mrs. Mondale's ailing father in nearby Stillwater, Minnesota. Meanwhile, the first woman in history to run for the second spot on the ticket cast her vote in Queens, New York, then passed part of this long day of waiting at a senior citizen center in her congressional district. Mondale plans to have dinner with his staff here at the St. Paul Hotel in just a few minutes. He will then go upstairs to a suite and watch the returns. He told a crowd at the Minneapolis airport last night, "You know, I have given this campaign absolutely all I've got." His hope tonight, if not for victory, is for at least a decent showing, both to vindicate his own candidacy and to deny President Reagan that total mandate he seeks. Dan?
Thank you, Susan. A look at coattails, Congress, and the next 4 years as our election night coverage continues after these messages.
When arthritis pain says you can't, Encaprin's micrograins of arthritis medicine let you say,
I can.
Introducing Encaprin, a better way to treat arthritis pain than plain or buffered aspirin. Because its hundreds of aspirin micrograins are made to deliver unsurpassed relief to minor arthritis pain in a way that's safer for your stomach than plain or buffered aspirin. So when arthritis says you can't, new Encaprin lets you say,
I can.
Encaprin micrograins go to work in a remarkable way. They're made to pass through your stomach without dissolving, so they're safer than even buffered aspirin. And when they leave your stomach, they provide hours of relief to minor arthritis pain in your shoulder, your hand, wherever it hurts. When arthritis says you can't, new Encaprin lets you say,
I can.
When arthritis pain says you can't, remember, Encaprin lets you say,
I can.
I can.
I can.
A key question this election night, even if President Reagan is reelected to the top spot, does he have the coattails to get him out of a tough spot when it comes to getting his programs through the Congress? Now, this is a story we'll be looking at throughout the evening. It may turn out to be the most important story of the evening. Our first look now from national correspondent Bob Schieffer. Bob?
Dan, if all goes as expected, the Republicans will keep control of the Senate, the Democrats will keep control of the House. But in both cases, the majorities will shrink. The Republicans have a 10-seat majority in the Senate, holding 55 seats. For a variety of reasons, strategists in both parties expect the GOP to wind up with a net loss in the neighborhood of 2 seats. And they say the new Senate may break down this way: 53 Republicans and 47 Democrats. North Carolina's Republican Senator Jesse Helms, who voted early today, and his Democratic challenger Jim Hunt have been embroiled in one of the closest and certainly the most expensive Senate race. Together, they've spent about $21 million, about $10 a voter. Another race thought to be too close to call was in Illinois, where Republican Senator Chuck Percy voted today after one of the toughest campaigns of his career against challenger Paul Simon, a downstate congressman. In the House, the Democrats far outnumber the Republicans. The Republicans don't expect to win enough House seats to take control, but they do expect to make some gains, and they've been saying that if they can pick up at least 26 seats, then they'll have a working majority, since some conservative Democrats can often be counted on to vote with the Republicans on major issues. One final note on the Senate, Dan. In several of the states where the president appears to be doing very well, some Democratic candidates who were favorites to win their races are finding themselves in much closer contests than had been expected. So with an upset or two, it is conceivable that once this night is over, it may all be a wash. Some seats may change hands in the Senate, but the Democrats and the Republicans may wind up with the same number of seats.
Well, Bob, it's certainly what we'll be watching, whether and if there's very much a change in the Senate and or the House. One person, one vote. Put them all together, you get important blocks of voters. Take the battle for the hearts and minds of Midwest factory workers, for example. Meredith Vieira is in Chicago.
Midwest voters seem to be going for Ronald Reagan, and it's the economy that is driving them to the voting booths. Despite the fact the recession struck deeper and stayed longer here than anywhere else in the country, about half the Midwest voters polled by CBS News and the New York Times say the economy is better than it was 4 years ago. Of those who cite it as the key reason for voting the way they are, a strong majority are pulling the Republican lever. But this is the Rust Belt, and blue-collar workers who have felt the threat of layoffs and unemployment are less optimistic about the way things are. 1/3 of those blue-collar workers polled by CBS News and the New York Times say unemployment has been a serious problem for them during the past 4 years. Less than half the blue-collar workers polled think they are better off than they were in 1980. As a consequence, a majority of them seem to be going for Walter Mondale.
The CBS News New York Times poll, Dan, shows that voters in the Midwest seem to be much more concerned about the economy as a key issue than voters in the rest of the country. Now, that may not be surprising to voters here, since Ohio, Illinois, and Michigan share the rather dubious distinction of having the highest unemployment rates in the country. The next issue down after the economy in the Midwest appears to be foreign affairs. Of those who tell our CBS News New York Times pollsters that they consider that to be the key issue, about half seem to be voting for Mondale because of his position on arms control, and about half seem to be going with Ronald Reagan because of his strong defense position. An apparent wash, and that may make the economic vote more significant. Dan?
Thank you, Meredith. In Atlanta, Bernard Goldberg is standing by in our southern and southwestern election headquarters with the word of a solid South. Solid, it seems, on both sides of a dividing line, a color line.
The South this election day is shaping up as a portrait in black and white.
Thank you. Voted for Walter Mondale and Geraldine Ferraro and all the Democrats.
In fact, our CBS News New York Times exit poll shows that black Southern voters are casting their ballots overwhelmingly for Walter Mondale, white Southern voters overwhelmingly choosing Ronald Reagan. That kind of split, with whites in the vast majority, is trouble for the Democratic ticket in this region.
There's always been a feeling that there is a wing of the Democratic Party that the South doesn't feel comfortable with. And I think that that's a problem for us.
Throughout the South, voters are rejecting Mondale's plan to raise taxes, about 2-to-1. And over half of all Southern voters say they're better off now than they were 4 years ago. And those voters appear to be picking President Reagan overwhelmingly. As for Mondale,
the white vote that Walter Mondale is getting in the South is primarily composed of yellow dog Democrats. That means you'd vote for yellow dog if he's on the Democratic ticket.
Well, Dan, that yellow dog voter may not quite be an endangered species, but there doesn't appear to be a lot of them roaming the South this election night either.
Thank you, Bernie. And I'll have the story of new turbulence in the space shuttle program in a moment.
Norelco Rotatract, the shaving machine that challenges the world. Every blade, every electric, in closeness, comfort, speed, and performance. Only Norelco holds a charge up to 3 times longer than any leading razor. Only Norelco packs 3 floating heads with a patented twin-action shaving system. Get it? And like it, or get your money back. Remember, only a Norelco performs like a Norelco.
Some investment help
Has your company come up with a source for pension? What's your company doing about group protection?
In the complex world of business, the John Hancock companies can help in many ways with worldwide pension and profit-sharing plans, group protection for the life and health of employees, with venture capital and other corporate financial services.
Good investment. I like their thinking. It's a very comprehensive
Let
program.
us take the weight of the world off your business. John Hancock. We can help you here and now, not just hereafter.
U.S. intelligence officials tell CBS News tonight that a Soviet freighter is on its way to Nicaragua and that it may be carrying MiG-21 jet fighters. Pentagon correspondent David Martin reports that the freighter left a Black Sea port last September, shortly after President Reagan met with Soviet Foreign Minister Gromyko. The U.S. officials caution that they do not have proof that MiGs are on board, but they do have satellite photographs which show that at the time the ship was being loaded, a dozen crates similar to those used to transport MiG-21s disappeared from the pier. The Reagan administration has warned Moscow not to send fighter aircraft to Nicaragua. If those planes are on the ship, one U.S. option being considered is a surprise attack to destroy them. New ups and downs tonight for the space shuttle program. Tomorrow's launch is still on, but next month's mission, strictly for the military, is off. And so is NASA's goal of a one launch a month, and you can count on it shuttle program. Bruce Hall has details of one mission down and one to go.
The countdown is proceeding smoothly for tomorrow's launch of Discovery's rescue mission, designed to establish the shuttle's satellite salvage capabilities. But the shuttle program received a major setback today with the announcement that Discovery's sister ship Challenger, which returned from space only 3 weeks ago, has more problems with its troublesome heat shield tiles. Inspectors have found nearly 3,000 tiles that need to be replaced before Challenger can be sent into space again. That will delay the scheduled December launch of the military secret payload for at least 6 to 8 weeks and push back the other scheduled flights. This is a blow to NASA's ability to maintain its publicized launch-a-month schedule and its reputation with its customers. But officials said there were other concerns.
Mission safety and success is top priority, and we will not compromise safety in order to meet schedule.
However, the tile problem will have no effect on tomorrow's launch of Discovery. It is a crucial mission for NASA, and astronauts Joe Allen and Dale Gardner have been practicing for their extremely difficult task. They will leave the spacecraft and attempt to make a dramatic retrieval of 2 errant satellites. Bruce Hall, CBS News, Kennedy Space Center.
Plagued by creditors, Louisiana's 1984 World's Fair today filed for bankruptcy. The fair, which is scheduled to close Sunday, is an estimated $140 million in debt.
Many years ago, when the earth was being formed, it gave something special to Colombia. It gave us rich volcanic soil, which brings a special richness to our coffee. Here, men like Juan Valdez pick the coffee bean by bean and protect its special richness. There is no other coffee like our 100% Colombian. And when we put these words on the package, it is for you to enjoy the richest coffee in the world.
It looks on me, Stouffer's lean cuisine. Less than 300 calories, Stouffer's lean cuisine. I love the taste, I love what I see. I love being all that I can be. Ooh, I love the way it looks on me, and so does he.
Stouffer's lean cuisine. You'll love the way it looks on you.
I love the way it looks on me.
Passengers on a Saudi Arabian jet forced to fly to Tehran overpowered 2 hijackers today, allowing Iranian troops to storm the plane and free all 131 passengers and crew. 1 passenger was injured. The plane, on a flight inside Saudi Arabia, was hijacked 8 hours earlier by 2 men believed to be from North Yemen. A Saudi soldier said he hit one of the hijackers on the head with an axe 4 times and then threw him off the plane, while other passengers subdued the other hijacker. It was reported in New Delhi today that last week's assassination of Indian Prime Minister Indira Gandhi was not a spur-of-the-moment act. A top Indian government intelligence source said the murder was planned 2 months ago by as many as a dozen Sikhs. They allegedly wanted revenge for Mrs. Gandhi's ordering the army to storm the Sikhs' holiest shrine, the Golden Temple, last June. As Wyatt Andrews reports now from New Delhi, it is India's majority Hindus who are seeking vengeance now on the Sikhs. It's a terrible scene, and we caution that Andrews' report contains graphic pictures.
They are the sobs of a nation that has suddenly turned on itself. A white-hot rage that began when Hindus started taking revenge on all Sikhs because 2 Sikhs shot Indira Gandhi.
They have mercilessly killed everybody. Every town, every city, every village, they are hunting for Sikhs.
This woman's husband was pulled from their home and burned alive while she and her 5 children watched. Sikhs have been pulled from their taxis, beaten on trains, A mob pinned down this 7-year-old child and cut his shoulder-length hair, a crime akin to rape for Sikhs who don't cut their hair. The 4-day spree of violence has turned the Sikhs into refugees in their own city. The Sikhs are virtual prisoners in the schools and temples where they have isolated themselves for safety. In Delhi, the harassment and murder of Sikhs often happened in front of the police. The Sikhs looked for protection. The cops looked away.
This is the most frightening part of it, that when the police themselves cannot protect the citizens, then there's very little a man can do to protect himself.
Newsmen trying to tell the story of the Sikhs are kept away by police. CBS News crews that slip past security were often chased away by scores of angry Hindus who don't want the story told. For the Sikhs, it's as if they've instantly dropped to the bottom of India's caste system. Prosperous and wealthy one week, they're camping in temples the next. Some Sikh government officials are too scared to work, teachers afraid to go to school.
This is inexplicable. To know, I just can't explain.
The damage done to the Sikhs, while brutal and physical, is also social. After decades of living in what they thought was a tolerant city, 4 days of madness exposed the lie. Wyatt Andrews, CBS News, New Delhi.
The tightest security for any British royal occasion was in force today for the state opening of Parliament by Queen Elizabeth. Hundreds of uniformed police lined the streets, and armed detectives dressed as footmen ran alongside the royal coach carrying the Queen, her son Prince Charles, and his wife Lady Diana. Inside Parliament, the Queen donned the royal velvet robe and the imperial crown and took her place on the throne to read a speech written by Prime Minister Thatcher's government. There were no surprises in it. The government repeated its pledge not to alter tough economic policies in spite of record British unemployment.
Take it from me. Never clean an oven without Easy Off. For no fumes cleaning, Easy Off oven pad. With special Easy Off grease cutters. No big mess, no fumes. For faster cleaning, new improved Easy Off spray. With the new advanced grease penetrating formula. Lifts up baked on grime. It's a snap. See? Easy Off makes oven cleaning easy. Spray. Oven pad. Spray. Oven pad. Let the cleaning experts speak. I've spoken. No fumes oven pad or new improved spray. Never clean an oven without Easy Off.
Hey, everybody, it's Uncle Joe.
We all like to spend the weekends with family and friends. That's why AT&T saves you 60% on long distance every weekend, and they don't stop with savings. They give you service, too. Calling from anywhere to anywhere. Operator service, calls that sound as close as you feel, and 60% off. Joe, knew you'd make it somehow. Savings and service. That's AT&T. The more you hear, the better we sound.
Reach out and touch someone.
You're about to see a dishwasher do something absolutely amazing. Clean dishes and save energy too. The Whirlpool Power Clean Energy Saver Dishwasher. With a patented washing system that gives you remarkably clean dishes, yet uses 20% less hot water in the normal cycle than any Whirlpool dishwasher we've ever built. And like our washers and refrigerators, it comes with the Whirlpool Promise to give you your money's worth and make your world a little easier.
It's entirely possible you've never been on a fox hunt. Well, then join James McManus, and you'll see something people who have ridden to the hounds all their lives may never have seen.
It is a crisp November morning at the Iroquois Hunt Club on Boone Creek in Kentucky's horse country, opening day of the fox hunting season. And the riders have come to raise their glasses outside the old Grimes mill that was built when Tom Jefferson sat in the White House. The Episcopal Bishop of North Carolina, a former member of this hunt, has come back for the ritual blessing of the hound. This is a centuries-old social minuet of deep traditions that no one would dare violate, except perhaps Edith Conyers. Edith is not an iconoclast given to breaking the rules or giving offense to anyone. She just believes that if it has 4 feet and can run fast and jump fences, it ought to join the hunt. Even if it has long ears, even if it is a mule, A mule, a cross between a horse and a jackass, normally used for blue-collar work. Now, Kit, as she's called, is not your everyday mule. In Virginia's hunt country, the blooded horses use a lot of high-strung, expensive energy, vaulting the jumps. But the only mule in the country that competes in these high-toned events uses coiled springs to make it look easy. Does it with a switch of her tail, a kind of mulish panache. So here she is in Kentucky, patiently waiting to join the hunt.
She's just wonderful.
And she's not overly stubborn.
No, she's not stubborn at all. She's shy, but she's not stubborn at all. No.
If Kit has not yet won everyone's heart, she has won respect. Even Bishop Robert Estill offered a special benediction to the only mule in the Iroquois Hunt Club.
So now we bless the hounds, we bless the horses, we bless one mule.
So amid all this pageantry, there's Kit the mule, breaking equestrian social barriers and remolding tradition. She's welcome at the Hunt Club because even people who hate to break with tradition know a class act when they see one. James McManus, CBS News, Winchester, Kentucky.
On this election day, recapping briefly, here's what we think we know at this hour, early election night, with the polls still open in many parts of the country, and we urge you to vote if you haven't done so. In 2 states, Indiana and Kentucky, most or all of the polls are closed. Roughly 96% of the vote in those 2 states, and we believe that their 21 electoral votes combined will be counted in the Reagan column tonight. It takes 270 electoral votes to win the election. Based on CBS News, New York Times interviews today with voters around the country, there are indications that previous polling results throughout the past several weeks of a significant, substantial win for Ronald Reagan may be borne out if today's voting trends remain the same by poll closing times nationwide. We should know much more about that in just a few minutes, when the polls close in 8 more states worth a total of 76 electoral votes, including states that may tell us how the South will be counted tonight. Our complete CBS News coverage of this final day of Campaign 84 starts in just a couple of minutes, so stay tuned. We'll be right back.
For 1985, Plymouth challenges Escort and the imports with the 550 Plymouth Horizon, 5-passenger room, front-wheel drive, special option package that includes automatic transmission at no extra cost. Match it, Escort. Plymouth backs Horizon with a 550 protection plan. Match it. The 550 Plymouth Horizon. Match it, if you can. Plymouth, best built, best backed American cars.
The president of this electronics company has always believed that if you're fair with people, they'll be fair with you. And he knows the travelers for a company that goes out of their way to be fair. To help him control the rising costs of his company's medical insurance, the travelers offered a flexible health, education, and fitness plan that showed him how to keep more of his employees healthy and on the job, in better shape, physically and financially. At the Travelers, we believe fairness is good business.
To help American business remember better what American business has to remember, help is on the way. Introducing Elephant Premium Floppy Disks for Business. They're designed to protect your data when other disks won't. Elephant Premium Floppy Disks, because Elephant never forgets.
You've always relied on CBS News when it counts. Tonight it counts. CBS News Live election coverage continues next.
This is CBS.
Coming up next on Eyewitness News, a heavy voter turnout today across